Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the second video about I Ching, or the Book of Changes. As I mentioned in my video about I Ching and Confucius, I Ching is probably the most influential text to all philosophical schools in early China. The more I dig into the ancient Chinese history, the more I realize how significant I Ching was in shaping all the philosophical thoughts in ancient China. For the moment, I'm going to focus on how I Ching impacted on the early Confucian thoughts, especially during the Warring State period, when several generations of Confucius' disciples expanded the Confucian thoughts to develop a Confucian metaphysics. The consensus among many Chinese scholars is that the 10 or the 10 wings of I Ching were compiled by the Confucian scholars during the Warring State period. Recent archaeological findings in Mawangdui and Guodian provide sound textual evidence supporting this view. So, in my following videos, I'm going to examine these texts unearthed from these and other archaeological sites to show how I Ching, or the Book of Changes, shaped the Chinese philosophies over the last 2 millennia. I'm Dr. Gao, a philosopher specialized in classical Chinese philosophies, professional ethics, and philosophy of medicine. I'm also passionate about the classical Chinese poetry. I make videos about the classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, and traditional Chinese medicine. Please click the like button and subscribe my channel. Your support is very important to me. If you would like to donate to my channel, you can find the Patreon link in the homepage of my channel or the description section down below. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. So, if you would like to read the original Chinese text with me, please contact me. Here is my email address. Before I dive into the connections between I Ching and the Chinese philosophies, I need to examine the content included in I Ching that are relevant to philosophy, particularly the part relevant to Chinese metaphysics. This is a very difficult task. I would like to acknowledge I'm not an expert of I Ching, so this research is as much a learning process as a research process. 2 books offered huge help during my research so far. Benebell Wen's book, I Ching, the Oracle, a practical guide to the Book of Changes, and the book by Edward L. Shaughnessy, I Ching, the Classic of Changes, the first English translation of the newly discovered 2nd century BC Mawangdui text. I studied these books and other online sources to deepen my understanding of I Ching and its meaning. Their books are also very helpful in my translations of the text I quoted in my videos. I'm very grateful for their guidance and insights that inspired my research. In my last video, I mentioned that Confucius was not interested in I Ching until his later years. And then he taught and performed I Ching divination many times. And he compiled the 10 or the 10 wings commentaries included in the current version of I Ching. These facts were recorded in a biography in Sima Qian's 史记, or the record of Grand Scribe. Although the record of the Grand Scribe was not compiled nearly 300 years later after Confucius passed away, the recent archaeological discoveries confirmed that the first 2 claims are true. However, the archaeological discoveries also bring up a debate about the last claim, that is, how much contribution did Confucius make to the 10 or the 10-wing commentary? Some of the texts discovered from Mawangdui and Guodian resemble parts of the 10 commentaries, but are much shorter than the version circulating today, which we inherited from the Three Kingdom period of the 3rd century CE. Chinese archaeologists and classicists believe that the I Ching-related texts were compiled during the Warring State period of the 4th and the 3rd century BCE. This means that it was the later generations of Confucius' disciples, including Confucius' grandson Zisi, contributed to the composition of the 10 wings. The reason I keep on mentioning the 10 wings of I Ching is that the Confucian metaphysics is mostly presented in the 10-wing commentaries. It is in these commentaries that key concepts such as heaven, heavenly mandate, the yin and yang, and many other concepts and thoughts about the Confucian metaphysics are discussed. These commentaries articulate how the cosmic order emerges from the interaction between heaven and earth, yin and yang, justify the normative nature of the cosmic order, that is, the mandate of heaven, and provide arguments that people ought to organize their affairs in accordance with the cosmic order, which is revealed by the divination guided by I Ching, etc. I won't be able to talk much about the Confucian metaphysics in the 10 wings today, but I assure you I will in my future videos. Today, I'm going to give you a summary of the I Ching's content and the 10 wings. Then I'll focus on explaining one hexagram in details to show what is included in the I Ching and 2 of its earliest commentaries. The current version of I Ching was first edited by Wangbi of the 3rd century CE in the title of 周易注, or I Ching with notes, which consists of the 64 hexagrams, or 卦, their names, 卦辞, or statements of each hexagram, 爻辞, or the meaning of each line in a hexagram, 彖传, judgments from each hexagram, 象传, or the symbolic meanings of each hexagram and each line of a hexagram, 文言, a detailed commentary for the first 2 important hexagrams, 乾, or heaven, and kun, or earth. This version was edited again by a philosopher named Han Kangbo, who lived in the first part of the 4th century CE. He added other commentaries including the appended statements, or 系辞, hexagrams explication, 说卦, an introductory to hexagram, or 序卦, and the miscellaneous hexagram, etc. A Tang Dynasty philosopher named Kong Yingda, who lived between the 6th to the 7th century CE, edited the Han version and added his own interpretation and published his version in the title of 周易正义, or the correct interpretation of I Ching, which became the official version since the Tang Dynasty and is still in circulation as the received version today. To examine the currently circulating texts of I Ching and the related texts from recent archaeological findings, and work out their significance in shaping the metaphysics of classical Chinese philosophies are a huge challenge for me, and trying to make my findings suitable for short videos and not butchering these ideas and thought into unrelated pieces are missions next to impossible. but I'm going to have a go anyway. Please let me know what you think of my effort in the comment section. Now, let me show you the basic structure of the I Ching text, as well as the early commentaries included in Wang Bi's 3rd century edition of I Ching by examining one hexagram. This is the hexagram of type, or greatness, or harmony. There are several components in this diagram. The name of the hexagram, or 卦名, the statement of each hexagram, 卦辞, the statement for each line in the hexagram, 爻辞, judgment statement of a hexagram, 彖传, and the symbolic meaning of the hexagram, 象传. Now, let me explain them one by one. The name of this hexagram, as I said earlier, is type. Type literally refers to water leaking from one's palm. It is quick and smooth. So it means things are connected and interacting smoothly with each other. Tai is also interchangeable with the character Tai or greatness in many Asian texts. That is why Tai is currently translated as either greatness or harmony. I prefer Benebell Wen's translation as harmony because it is closer to the original meaning of the character than greatness. The hexagram consists of the trigram for heaven or qian and that for earth or kun. It represents the harmonious interaction between the heaven and earth, yin and yang, and all the harmonious processes arising from such interactions. Next to the name is the statement about this hexagram called 卦辞, explaining the meaning of this hexagram. In this case, it says 小往大来, 即 heng, meaning letting go of the small and the big will come, auspicious and prosperous. What does this mean? Well, it depends on what is your question. If you're asking about the investment, this definition result means that a small investment might bring big return. If you're asking about your career, it means that you should take care of small tasks, which will result in accomplishing big project. It might also mean that a small mistake, if not taken care of, could lead to big failure. So, you need to pay attention to small errors and fix them before it is too late. This hexagram is certainly an auspicious sign indicating a prosperous future for you. Then comes the 爻辞, or the meaning of each line. Each line has its own meaning stated by the 爻辞. To read a hexagram, you need to start from the bottom. The first line from the bottom is called 初九, or the first line of number 9. Number 9 here indicates that it is a young line, because number 9 is a young number. Its 爻辞 reads, 拔毛如以期会征集, pulling a reed by its root. All the connected reeds come out with it. Auspicious for any undertaking. The last two characters in this line literally mean it is an auspicious sign for military campaign. So, some scholars believe this might be a record of a divination performed before a military campaign. Hence, interpret the first part of this statement as pulling weight for horse feet to prepare for the military campaign. The statement for the second line is 包荒用平和不暇以朋王得上于中行 meaning using a hollow gird as a floater to cross a river. Lost the girl before arrived at the distant destiny. A friend died because of this. Reverted by treading the middle path. The first three parts of this line is easy to understand. It might be another record of an incident happened during the military campaign recorded in the first line. However, the last part of this statement is a bit puzzling. If a fellow soldier died, why was the person in the record reverted? The silk copy of I Ching from Mawangdui has the line slightly different from the Wang Bi's edition. It reads, 福望用平和，不暇疑。福望得上于中行。Using a hollow girl as a floater to cross a river. Lost the girl before arrived at the distant destiny. Did not forget his goals. Reverted by treading the middle path. This makes sense. The person was reverted for successfully accomplish what he was set to achieve. The third line statement is 无凭不疲，无往不复，坚贞无咎，勿恤其福，于时有福。No plain is without its mounts and ridges. No departure is without a return. Divination about the drought shows no bad omen. Don't worry, there will be enough food and good fortune. The statement for this line is quite interesting. Since this is the last young line of the three young lines, it is the ultimate of the good luck. This also means one has reached the peak of his good fortune, and things will only go down. But one needs not to worry, as long as one watches for bad omens closely. This is because the way of heaven and earth is cyclical. When one reaches the top, the only way to go is to go down. When one reaches the bottom, the only way to go is to go up. Nothing to worry about. The fourth line is a yin line, that is, a broken line. Its statement goes, 偏偏不富以欺凌，不借以福. Flattering and flying. Do not obtain wealth or riches from your neighbors. Unguarded and trusting. This statement is the most difficult one to interpret in this hexagram. It is also missing from the Mawangdui silk version of I Ching. One of the online sites, which I listed in the description section down below, connect this statement with a story from 史记周本纪, or the biography of the Zhou kings from the record of the Grand Script, about the grandfather of King Wen of Zhou, 古公胆府, or the ancient forefather Dan Fu. Dan Fu was revered by his people for his achievements and righteous actions. When his neighboring tribe, Rong and Di, attacked for resources, he stopped their attacks by giving them what they wanted. Later on, the Rong and Di attacked again, wanting both the people and the land. The Zhou people wanted to fight back. Dan Fu said, the Rong and Di attack us for both land and the people working the land. Whether I rule the people or they rule the people, what is the difference? People wanted to fight on my behalf. However, I could not bear it to kill the fathers and sons of others to be the ruler. So he left the territory of Bin and crossed the rivers of Qi and Ju, climbed over Mount Liang, and stopped at the foot of Mount Qi. The people of Bin followed Dan Fu to Mount Qi. So did many people from other neighboring tribes. This site interprets this line as a reference to this kind of policy. that a ruler should not attack others to obtain wealth and riches. A ruler should attract people and obtain wealth by way of righteous and just action and winning over the support from people. And the ruler like this can trust the people's moral judgment. The fifth line is also a yin line. Its statement says, 地以归妹，以指原籍, meaning King Yi betrothed his daughter to Duke Zhou. Duke Zhou accepted her, an auspicious betrothal. The meaning of this statement is quite clear. It tells the story of King Yi married his daughter to King Wen Jichang when he was still a powerful duke under the rule of the Sun King. So it was a political marriage to obtain Jichang's support. The last line is a yin line too. Its statement is 臣附于皇，勿用师，致意诰命，真令. The city wall collapsed into the moat. Hold back the army. Orders issued from the capital. Divination shows bad omen. This statement is quite interesting. It seems recording the fall of the Song dynasty. The city was already collapsed into the moat. The Zhou army did not need to attack the Song capital because it had fallen apart from internal conflicts. Orders issued from the capital were no longer followed by its generals, and a divination performed by the Song king showed bad omen. So this is the end to all the statements for each of the lines in this hexagram. Now let's look at the commentaries. The commentaries are very important for the topic of today's video because it is in these commentaries that the Confucian metaphysics, ethics, and socio-political theory are articulated. Today, I'm going to talk about the two earliest commentary about this hexagram. The two commentaries are called 彖传 or the judgment and the 象传 or the symbolic meaning of the hexagram. These two commentaries are the ones included in Mawangdui's I Ching edition. The 彖传 or judgment is one that you can make based on the hexagram about the question asked. According to legend, Tuan is a mythical creature who can bite into the iron vessel. Hence, it represents the judgment about whether a hexagram is auspicious or not. I wonder if it actually is the big panda, because Big Panda also has another name in ancient Chinese called 食铁兽, or the iron-eating creature. It would be quite interesting that the ancient Chinese worshipped the big panda as their mythical creature for judgment. The Tuan statement for this hexagram is the following. Heaven and earth converge. The 10,000 things are connected. The ruler and his subjects are aligned in their intentions. Yang resides internally, and yin stays in the exterior. Hence, one is strong in his mind, but amicable in his manner. Upholds a gentleman's integrity, but takes the strategies of a petty man. The way of gentleman expands, while the way of petty man diminishes. As you can see, these statements are interpretation of the 卦辞, or the hexagram statements. So, this hexagram indicates that the heaven and earth are aligned harmoniously. Hence, the 10,000 things are connected. This also means that the ruler is implementing policies benefiting his subjects. Hence, the morality of the people are good as they follow the example of 君子. I would like to point out that the term 君子 has a specific meaning when used in the Confucian framework. It has more moralistic significance than class division. Junzi often refers to someone who follows the Confucian moral code. I have made a video about the Confucian moral code and its socio-political meaning. Here is the link. In here, Junzi refers to the ruler and his administrative staff, that is, the scholar officials. The statement that the way of Junzi expands while the way of petty man diminishes indicates that if one is asking about whether a policy is good or not, this hexagram tells you that the policy in question is definitely good. If you're asking about your own future, it means that you will have more good friends, and the petty ones in your circle will leave. The next commentary I'm going to talk about is Xiangzhuan, or the symbolic meaning of this hexagram. It says, 天地交，泰，后以才成天地之道，辅相天地之宜，以左右民。Heaven and earth converge. All is in harmony. The ruler gains wealth and complement the Tao of heaven and earth. Support what is appropriate for heaven and earth, hence he governs his subjects effectively. The judgment and the symbolic meaning of this hexagram certainly serve the goal of a ruler. It also has meaning for ordinary inquiries. Benebell Wen's book offers great insight for an average person's inquiry. She states in the page of 444 of her book, small investments yields big returns. A little risk goes a long way. Forces are aligned and conducive for well-being. The key to continued success after success is balance. Stay consistent, etc. I totally agree with her. Even when things are looking good, one still needs to be cautious because the higher one goes, the harder is the fall. The Tao of heaven and earth is to balance things out. I'm Dr. Gao, a philosopher specialized in classical Chinese philosophies, professional ethics, and the philosophy of medicine. I'm also passionate about the classical Chinese poetry. I make videos about the classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, and traditional Chinese medicine. Please click the like button and subscribe my channel. Your support is very important to me. If you would like to donate to my channel, you can find the Patreon link in the homepage of my channel. You can also find it in the description section down below. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. So, if you would like to read the original Chinese text with me, please contact me. Here is my email address. Thanks for watching my video. I'll see you next time.